Keepers nervous, strikers, they'll deliver. Crowd roars erupted, you can feel the quake. 80,000 voices.
In this video, we'll talk about 3 Nigerians, or at least 3 players who are eligible to play for Nigeria, all subject to nationality switches, and I feel they can be absolute game changers for the Nigerian Super Eagles going forward. So right off the bat, the first person I'm going to talk about is Felix Ugochukwu. Felix Ugochukwu plays for Werder Bremen. I've talked about him before on this channel rather, alongside Justin Jima. He is very versatile, can play as a left back / left wing back, and play as a right back / right wing back, and sometimes can even play as an outright left winger. For me, I don't think that is his strongest position. I don't think that should be his favored position, and I don't think if Eric Chelle decides to, incorporate him to the Nigerian Super Eagles team, I don't want to see him playing as a left winger, because for me, I like wingers that have that offensive trait about them, that have the ability to attack, but when you play them as left wingers or as right wingers, as the case may be, you limit what they can do, because the runs they have to make is different. Because when you're playing as a left back or left wing back, you start your runs from deep, and you're usually supporting a winger that's either going on the outside or coming on the inside, heading towards the box. So I think for me, his versatility is very important. And also, last game versus Rwanda, Zimbabwe rather, Eric Chelle decided to invert. In 2 games even, he decided to invert Osimhen and play them at left back twice, and that's one thing I don't want to see. So for me, when you think about options that can actually play that role in terms of inverting into midfield and also playing as an orthodox attack-minded left back, I think he can do a very, very good job there. That's talking about Felix Ugochukwu. I think he can be fantastic there, and I think he should be incorporated, because when you look at the left back Nigeria have at this minute, I know that Michael Kayode is still tied to Italy. He hasn't really given any indication that he wants to play for Nigeria, while Felix Ugochukwu has made it clear that if he receives that call-up, he will be with the Super Eagles, quicker than flash. So he's there. So you have the ability, which is for me the number one thing, and then you have the willingness to actually play for the country, which is even equally as important in my opinion. So I wonder, what do you think about Felix Ugochukwu in the team? For me, I think he will be an absolute game changer, because when you have a player that's versatile, able to play a number of positions, that completely changes your game, completely changes the outlook of how your team plays positively. And the next person I want to talk about is Lesley Ugochukwu. Lesley Ugochukwu, he plays for Southampton and fair dues. They're getting relegated anyways from the Premier League, but how he's played since he's been on loan out of Southampton from Chelsea has been really, really impressive. He shows the ability to hold on to the ball, distribute the ball, and coordinate play and control play. And I've been talking about this, for months and months and months, that Nigeria needs that player that can hold the ball and control the pace of play. And for me, I've talked about Ebenezer Akinsemiro. If you've been watching this video, if you're subscribed to this channel indeed, and you've been, watching the video on it, Ebenezer Akinsemiro is my number 1 choice for that lone 6 role. But at the minute, he's not been invited yet. Hopefully he does get invited. But talking about having a different option, because for me, I believe in having strength in depth, having a big squad, not just one player that can play in the particular role, and then if he's unavailable, maybe due to injuries or suspensions, then you don't have anyone that can fill in that role. Or even in a game where a player is a bit tired and needs to be substituted, you don't have any option off the bench, because looking at Nigeria's bench right now, you don't quite see that controller general, if I can use that word, that midfielder that can help control the pace of play. Ever since Mikel Obi, we've not had that sort of player. So Didi has been a good servant for the national team, but he doesn't strike me as a sort of player. He's never been that sort of player that can help you, control the pace of play, and that's something Nigeria really, really needs. And even, in the World Cup qualifiers, that's something that really stood out to me as, a problem, as a challenge, especially the Zimbabwe game. at home, couldn't quite control the pace of the play, especially after taking that sort of, would you call it late lead? So for me, I think Lesley Ugochukwu would fit in perfectly, and he's definitely a player of his profile is really, really needed for the Nigerian Super Eagles. And then last but not least for me, I know he's still a youngster, I've talked about him in a couple of videos, is Tyrique George. He's now been getting a couple of games, sort of first minutes for Chelsea. He scored the equalizer yesterday for Chelsea against Fulham. And then eventually Chelsea went on to win when Pedro Neto scored. But for me, I think Tyrique George, he is a top talent. He scored his first goal for Chelsea a couple of days ago against Liga Warsaw in the UEFA Europa Conference League. So he's been coming up in leaps and bounds, and fair due to his channel, I've been talking about him even before he's made his first team debut. I think he's someone that can contribute to the team right now because he's showing he can play with men. I know people would say he's young, he's 18. I get it. He is young. But when I say contribute, does not mean he comes in and becomes a starter. Does not mean he even gets full 45 minutes, 15 minutes, 20 minutes to be an impact sub, just as it's being used as his minute at Chelsea. So I think he can contribute and be an absolute game changer. One thing I want to say is this. People, Nigerian fans, Nigerian administrators, Super Eagles selectors, don't be afraid of picking up young players. 18-year-olds, 17, 18, 19. Don't be afraid to call up young players that can actually have an impact on the team. I know you may say experience, but what they lack in experience, they would have a lot in exuberance on the pitch, freedom to express themselves, dynamism, and being fresh. At least you give some sort of tactical or mental challenge to the selectors of opposing teams, because they're not used to the players. They're used to your Victor Osimhen's, in your other regulars like your Ademola, Lookman and all. But when you have players like this, they can actually, test the knowledge of the opponent's tactical team. I think that can absolutely be something that can work in favor of Nigerian Super Eagles. So I think Tyrique George is someone that should absolutely be looked at. I don't think the papers can be walked so quickly that he plays in Unity Cup, but I think he's someone that the process should start at his minute. And one other thing that I think is a plus for Tyrique George is, in addition, I've said he's young, but that also means that he gets to become part of the Nigerian Super Eagles setup, a lot younger, and helps with the integration of other players 2-3 years down the line. So I think for all these reasons, I think he should be part of the Super Eagles setup, especially because he has now been playing first team football, playing with men, facing those tackles, facing those challenges, and proving that he belongs there. Because that's one thing you want to see from a young player. When they get these opportunities, to play first in football, they actually show that, yeah, I belong here. I don't look like, I'm not meant to be here. And he's shown that, he belongs at top level playing men's football. And I think the Nigerian Super Eagles, Eric Chelle and other selectors should see this as an opportunity to say, yeah, we're going to get these players on our books. So these are 3 absolute game changers I think Nigerian Super Eagles should be looking at getting. But there are other players as well, like Ademola Sternberg, for sure. He should definitely be looked at. Top player. I think he can be absolutely dynamic for the Nigerian Super Eagles. And I've come to the end of the video, but before I end the video, there will be another video coming up later on the channel, and I will be talking about how Nigeria can really rework the midfield. And I've talked about Lesley Ugochukwu on this video, but there are other names I feel that can come into that midfield and form a trio or an effective partnership in the midfield that can completely change how Nigeria plays for the better. Definitely, that's what I'm looking at. So thanks for watching, thanks for subscribing to the channel and supporting the channel. As we continue to grow, we'll continue to grow together. So at this point, I've come to the end of the video, and I'd like to see you on yet another video. So like I always say, stay well and stay blessed.